narrative strategist, and co-founder of Bulb Chamka Studios. The studio has produced films like Uru, The Surgical Strike. At Bulb Chamka, Shantanu heads the AI and the new IP vertical, working with clients like BFSI, gaming, and global content platforms. He has trained over 1 lakh um, individuals, and he's also into AI content creation. He is a narrative strategist for high net value worth individuals and platform globally. And he is currently building Ancient Indian Billionaires. Sounds very interesting. The transmedia series reimagining Indian civilization history through AI. Shantanu, welcome.
Thank you so much, Devjani, for having me. Thank you so much, Adobe team.
Pleasure for us. Absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, Shantanu. And you have had a really amazing graph of all the work that we have seen. It's quite a brilliant space, and we are very excited to have you here. Um, you have had a fascinating journey across the storytelling and technology. So, what was the first thing that pulled you towards blending creativity and the tech part? What was it that, connected all of this together?
I mean, honestly, first of all, thank you so much for the people who have joined in. I'm hoping that I can have add value to you guys. Uh, it starts off with the fact that when theater used to be there, no technology was needed, honestly. After that, when filmmaking became a bit more technical when it comes to coming off a camera, the lights and everything, technology and storytelling have been together since ages. Now
Correct.
the game has changed because AI has coming in. AI has opened the floodgates towards storytelling as a concept for each and every person who wants to tell a story, does not need to be from a technical background. So the things have changed slightly for people who are in the professional front like myself, because
Mhm.
now we really have to pull up our socks and tell better stories because technology is now democratized. So why there is no other option where we can't fail.
I completely agree. I mean, I think AI has become the new word. Like every conversation has that word in it
Yeah.
now. And what was the shift for you, to adapt to AI when you thought about it in this field?
And honestly, it is the shift is most of the time economics of the entire industry. The first economics being that we were already servicing a lot of clients in multiple sectors, predominantly clients who do a lot of work similar to like HUL, and we service right now Crafton, which is a gaming client. What they came back to us saying is, can you do something to do with AI? I'm like, okay, but what will that serve the purpose? Because me and my co-founder are very fond of live shooting, going on floor, getting the team together, shooting, and getting those clips out. Then the regular grind of obviously sitting with all the Adobe tools for the post-production, and like sitting in that entire process.
Right.
We did not want to adopt to AI, but the clients came to us saying that we really want to have better turnaround times and
Uh-huh.
also value for the money that we have been doing. So, do you should we approach other agencies who are actually adopting to this? So,
Oh.
what we decided is might as well carve out a team from our company to
Right.
get trained in AI, and this was 2 years ago. And we went into sort of a research and development lab of ours, which
Hmm.
is our center room in the office. And we sat in that office, and for 6 months, we were just studying how to incorporate this in our workflow. And
Wow.
post that, uh, what we realized that the constraints of storytelling were moving fast away because movies like Star Wars and an Avatar can
Hmm.
happen on a laptop now, you know. So what we thought might as well get the original stories back, which we wanted to do when we become a big production house of sorts, then
Hmm.
pitch those bigger producers. We thought of getting those back and then using AI to show visuals to that. So we then came to the point of working on Ancient Indian Billionaires. And
Right.
that is one transmedia series. I call it transmedia because it transcends the formats of just watching everything on a rectangular screen, but also live action, on ground, interactive installations, and gamification of that particular concept was now possible with AI. All right. So that is where we realize that brand, of course, we can service the brands, but we can now tell bigger stories. And then we didn't look back, honestly. We kept on going, kept on pushing. Right now, we have come to a point that our agency is 50% of live action shoot, and the 50% is AI. And that is slightly moving towards the AI side now, you know.
That's amazing, and I really like the way you have actually molded this opportunity to, to your benefit, and the fact that, you're talking about transmedia, that sounds so exciting, that sounds so creative. You have not restrained to that rectangle. You have actually gone ahead and done a lot of things around. We will look forward to, experiencing it for ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
It's sounding so great, like, having to cut off from the traditional aspect and coming up with something which is new for your experience makes a lot of difference for sure. So it's beautiful the way you're putting it across. I mean, I mean, I think also the fact that AI was interpreted very differently before, right? Like there was a fear about what is going to happen, but I mean, it's actually a tool which creative individuals like yourself can mold to what you would want it to be. It's your signature. It's how you are looking at it, and that's
Exactly.
what's making a difference, right?
Absolutely. That is exactly what is making the difference, especially now that the stories which need to be told, the turnaround time of those stories has gone down so less. Now we
Mhm.
can tell better and more of the stories. Now, of course, we can't, better is a very subjective thing, honestly. But if
Mhm.
we keep on making stories at the pace which AI is right now allowing us to tell stories, we start becoming better at our craft. Instead of initial times, I still remember some of my colleagues were sitting on scripts for 10 years. Now they wouldn't know because they haven't put the script out there. They wouldn't know if the script is even better or not. It's otherwise an echo chamber. AI just turns around the production process around so fast that now you can improve and you
Mhm.
can tell stories, then again see the feedback, then again improve. That honestly is a very liberating time. That's why I say in my sessions also, the only mantra that you need to follow is first of all, automate the entire noise, which means all the noise that used to be there initially. Get a script writer, write the script, and then, get a storyboard artist, then get a producer, then get into the production part of it. The entire noise is now automated. So now it's your job to humanize the content, which means now sit back and just think of a better story. Nothing else. Everything else is getting automated. And so you're free as a storyteller. So, what best for a storyteller than this particular era of AI?
Fantastic. That's really, really well put. Like the fact that you have to humanize it is also so important. It's so core as well, right? It really makes the difference. Otherwise, everything will look alike because end of the day, it's just giving you an output based on what your prompts are, right? So I think that's brilliant that you're talking about the fact that you can sit now, think through exactly what you'd want to, and then ensure that whatever was not really a creative work can be taken care of by AI for that matter.
Absolutely.
So great. So it's really, really awesome to hear these things. Just a few questions from your back in those days kind of situation where, so I'm sure you have, probably used Photoshop as well. So how was your that first experience and how is it now? Like what is the whole transition and how would you
You,
put it across?
literally, it was something which I pondered on this for a very long time when you guys got in touch that Adobe is such a big organization and it is such an integral organization to any artist who begins and even the artist who's in the professional front. It was back in 2012
Mm-hmm.
when I really was intrigued by the idea of an image and the text overlapping that image. That used to be, that's like a big design typography thing which we used to follow. And there was this one channel called as Movies Now. I'm not sure if you know about it, but it is a Times channel. Movies Now used to have those promotions where they used to have this particular, let's say, for example, the movie is Fight Club and Brad Pitt just comes in, but Movies Now logo used to be there. Brad Pitt used to walk in front of it.
Right.
I'm like, this is something I really need to learn because this is crazy. So that's when I downloaded Photoshop and I understood how to cut the layers and then put a text behind it. And then I'm like, I'm the best artist in the whole wide world. So that has been my experience with Photoshop. And then post that, I've been honestly moved into even more complex workflows of After Effects, then the editing workflows of Premiere Pro. Then I realized this. uh, this is some crazy suite that I'm part of now. That I know Photoshop till the premiere. Now I'm cool. So that is something that has been my experience, honestly.
Wow, that's awesome. Actually, I used to work with Zoom myself, so Times
Ah,
of India group is something that I've always been a part of. But yeah, I completely can relate to what you're saying, right? Like the first output that you got out of Photoshop made you feel like God. You're like, oh wow, this is something I created. It's not possible,
absolutely.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think there was a different thrill to that, and now it's just a small prompt and you get anything out of it within seconds.
Absolutely. The
So
generative fill, if I'm not wrong, right? Like generative fill on Photoshop is initially the manual lighting and incorporating and color grading each and every element used to be like a big task. Now it's not a task.
no,
I'm
it's
not
not.
understanding. I get very like worked up when we do hire a lot of entry level candidates and they directly start off with AI, and
Yeah.
they can't fathom their minds around the fact that we had to do things manually.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's so true. I mean, we have
Yeah.
different features. Like, for example, harmonize. You just paste something on top, you just click on that button, it just does the
Harmonize. Yeah,
thing.
that was the word. Correct.
Yeah,
Harmonize. It just lights it properly, right? Like it puts
exactly.
you into that. That's awesome.
Works around with the environment. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's really really interesting and it's very powerful as you said, right? Like the time consumption for things which were honestly not creative is getting completely taken over and you're able to do way
Yeah,
more. So
absolutely.
true. So what were you trying to create when you're, thinking about the various contrast of adapting to the changes? Of course, you did mention about the room that you have right now and how you are actually sitting and working together. But like as a deep dive, what do you see and what do you see as an acceptance versus a resilience when you talk about AI versus the whole ecosystem of creative individuals sitting together? What is it that you feel is a contrast here?
By sitting together, meaning teamwork with AI. Can you just elaborate that question for me?
So if I talk about creative individuals, like as you said, right, you had script writers who take about
Correct.
10 years to come
Correct.
up with the script versus now it's really fast. So there are some hooks that you even have with those script writers as well. So how is it that you integrate them together when you're working with because they're creative, they are good, you like
Correct.
them for certain reasons, but of course you want it to be really fast now, and the world is also asking or demanding for faster outputs. So, how is it that you're collaborating and integrating them, and what is the resistance that creative individuals are having when you're talking to them about these things?
A lot of resistance is something which I'm facing honestly. In the front, where the script writing part or the storyboarding part of it, and slowly, what's happening since the automation is coming in,
Mm-hmm.
when the technicians start getting replaced by the tools, that's
Mm-hmm.
when we as a company or as media professionals, we are not necessarily selling shampoo. We are not necessarily selling anything tangible. What we are selling as filmmakers are ideas, those ideas which have emotions. So we are basically orchestrating multiple emotions. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if we can't orchestrate this emotion of what's happening within when there is a frustration of a writer or a storyboard artist,
Mm-hmm.
where should they go? Where will they go when the live production is moving away? Is that something which your question is, right? Like something on these lines, right?
Yeah, I mean, how are they adapting to this?
So what we are doing in the company, what we did is we made them adopt to the AI workflow. So if a
Mhm.
writer is there, what the writer, we are not replacing the writer completely. What
Mhm.
I tell the writers, you come up with the idea, but don't
Mhm.
spend time in the creative block of I can't think of this dialogue. Keep on using multiple LLMs at the same point of time and start getting inspiration faster. And then you get a first draft out. Post that, the changes making is your job.
Right.
So we have upskilled the particular team. Same for the storyboard artist. What the storyboard artist does is in a similar way, gets the first round out, takes
Mhm.
that image into a Photoshop. All right. Takes the images into Photoshop, makes those changes, adds those elements which are needed, and then pushes it out. Because generally, if you use any diffusion model, you have no control what is going to show.
Absolutely.
So that's when we have started making, not replacing them, but upskilling the human at the center.
That's true.
Otherwise, there will be a huge batch of people who are unemployed. All right. So we absolutely do not need that. And
Right.
one thing which, as a collateral damage, is what I feel is going to happen in the industry, and I'm seeing this happen. I see many, I have a big problem with ad film directors calling themselves film directors or calling their ads as films. Film
Right.
is a separate DNA, and ad films is a separate DNA. Films supposed to orchestrate an emotion, create that impact which person can take away from. The only goal of an advertising is to sell a product,
True.
nothing else.
Absolutely.
All right. Mixing both becomes Bollywood kind of a film. All right. We can't
Absolutely.
do that. We can't do that. So the product, the part of the ad filmmakers needs to be automated so that these people can start making better films. Because I see brilliant minds making beautiful visuals and orchestrating a great story in the ad film department. But then
Mhm.
where are they in the films universe where their knowledge is absolutely needed? So I personally want that collateral damage to happen where the entire ad film direction and the ad film sector needs to be automated. We also do the same thing. Right now, we are in the process where we work with multiple clients. We give clients two options. One is a volume based proposition, one is a value based proposition. Volume based proposition meaning all their social media assets, something which is very functional for you
Mhm.
to know that this particular shampoo bottle is for this cost. Now the price has dropped and this is what it is. That's the
Right.
volume based proposition. But
Mhm.
this shampoo is going to make your day beautiful. The value based proposition is what we give them. That is when we get involved. The ad
Right.
film directors gets involved to give like particular taste. The ad film director gets involved or a film director gets involved in the volume proposition is just waste of human brain.
I mean, so well put. Waste of human brain. I mean, seriously, it does make sense because I do agree with a lot of things that you're saying here. When you talk about a ad director versus a film director, if I relate to it from my point of view, it'll be a commercial artist versus and fine artist, right? Like
Uh,
when I would want to paint just for myself, I cannot expect people to buy it because I have painted what I feel. Whereas if I would want to just talk about selling something, that's what a commercial artist will do. He will have to or she will have to do something which people will relate more to. It'll be based on what they need or what they would want to
Absolutely.
see. So yes, I completely agree on that part. And also how you have, beautifully put across or how you're looking at upscaling people who have the talent, because I think that's where a lot of people are getting very lost. They're feeling that they don't have the AI skills and they're panicking. But they have the brain, they have the genuineness, they have the humanness in them, and that's what makes a difference here. When you can just upskill with very little efforts. It's not really needed that it's a lifestyle change or something. It's just
Correct.
knowing just a little more and still being able to be a part of the ecosystem. That's where people will have to understand that creative people don't have to give up or say that, hey, what's going to happen to us. No, it's your brain which is making you unique and making you stand out, and that's where you'll be able to define or justify yourself. And I think that's very well put. I completely agree on what you're saying with regards to this aspect. And yes, volume, of course, volume is something where AI can replace, because
Correct.
it's really not needed for you to work around those aspects at all. So, with this, what are the tools that you feel, when in case, because you mentioned about Photoshop, what are the tools that really work for you when you're working around with Adobe tools per se? Which one is the ones that you are working for you? What do you feel about it in general?
Honestly, we have been using the entire CS suite. We work with After Effects a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then we work with Premiere Pro a lot. Like my entire studio is Premiere Pro. And
Mm-hmm.
Premiere and After Effects connection sort of works. I remember I'll tell you a story when I was working in a media channel, and that time we used to use Final Cut Pro 7, that too. And that time there was a big shift from Final Cut Pro to the Adobe Premiere. And the
Right,
only reason why we had to shift, or what the selling point was, when it comes to Final Cut Pro, you had to convert the files into Apple
right,
ProRes.
right.
But with Premiere Pro, be it 4K, be it 2K, be it whatever format, it all can be married on that one timeline, and you can also get a beautiful playback. So
True,
that
true.
really saved the entire timeline. So we have been loyalists towards Adobe Premiere, the Adobe suite, for a very long time. Adobe's Firefly we have been using for extending, of course, the same Photoshop tool. However,
Mhm.
Adobe is now offering Flux also, and going through everything. And Flux being one of my favorite models, I've started using everything in Adobe. And that's something which is part of my tool stack, along with the other AI tools that I use. But these AI tools, once the content is created, all in the end come back to my premieres or the After Effects of the world, you know. So it's like a bedrock which is always there. Whatever comes in, the bedrock of an edit, that I'm not going to automate because I enjoy working with my editors. I enjoy editing myself. And
Wow.
AI workflow is very much like an animation workflow. You start from the post because it's
Yeah.
like you generate the content and then you start putting things in place. And let's say, for example, there is one particular shot which is missing, you can always go back and put that shot. We have used that Adobe's Extend, which I felt it was phenomenal a technology. If there is a missing shot, I can just drag and the extend can happen. So
Right.
I've been experimenting a lot. And
Mhm.
as I said before, the bedrock always will remain Adobe tools.
Wow, that's great. So, this also reminds me of the fact that, when you're talking about these different tools that you're using, be it even the other generative AI tools, right?
Right.
Like there are various things which are there right now. Um, how is it that has your workflow changed by any chance? In the sense, previously, if you were to actually come up with a story and then start with the whole thing, is it still the same, or has it adapted or changed because now there is a lot of AI influence, you have a lot more deadlines, or does it start with, okay, I'll just show you a picture now first, and then from that picture, I will start creating a story
Correct.
for you. So, has it changed in any way for you at this
Yes.
point?
For me, particularly, the workflow has changed from the fact that we used to start off from the scripting part of it, of course, the idea part of it, then the scripting, then move into the live production, get those clips and do the post-production. So pre-production, production, and post-production used to be and still is our workflow. But
Mm-hmm.
with AI, I've changed my workflow by first building the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see where my characters are going to live in. Then I build the characters. Then I have the world interact with the character. Like, for example, in ancient Indian billionaires, what I've done is first the world was created because I first of all wanted to log the diffusion model, which is going to react to my creative sensibilities. Once
Mm-hmm.
that diffusion model was locked, then I moved to another diffusion model where I could get the characters I wanted. And in our case, what we do, we have a live production entire unit. So we get those actors only. We don't use any of the generated models. We get the actors, take their permission, and then put them in our series. So
Wow.
that way, the world and the character then comes together. And the concept is still there. Sometimes AI throws different elements in the world, different characters altogether, which actually inspires the story to be better as compared to just relying on your brain. So that's why coming from the world, moving to the characters, and then building the entire story is how I'm approaching things at this stage.
That's quite unique in a way, and definitely is helpful because you have time constraints and you have demand, and then you also need to ensure that you're able to adapt to what is there with you. And I think with the fact that you have figured it out, that's for what it is right now. Of course, AI is constantly evolving and it's always going to
Right.
keep coming up with better things, and maybe your workflow will also keep changing or adapting according to that. But this
Absolutely.
seems to be a good solution for right now, right? Like working
Yeah,
in
yeah, absolutely.
production. So you also look into the sound effects, the voice, and all those things also coming from the AI, or you're still
Yes.
relying?
So with our branded clients, what we do is we first of all use AI tools only to generate the music because the libraries that we used to work with, like Universal or Universal BGM, or I don't know if it's not called Big Bang and Fuzz now, but it used to be Big Bang and Fuzz initially.
Right.
All these libraries are supremely expensive, and
Wow.
creation of the music is also supremely expensive. So what happens is right now with clients reducing the cost, the only way we charge for the premium for the idea any which ways, but we have to save costs somewhere, at least for the client, because that's adding value to them. That's when we
Right.
have started not working too much with the music producers
Mhm.
and using these music tools, getting SFX from different libraries. And some of the tools like Suno gives you complete open files. So even if I want to make any changes, I can do those Pro Tool changes in that with my music producer, which reduces my cost exponentially. So we've been using, yes, definitely. Most of the things which we have been working on in all our client work is AI tools only, except the editing part of it, because that's still not reached the stage of uh, very classic editing that we need. Like we come from ad films and trailer background. It has not reached the professional level at this stage.
Right. And I think it's every creative person who wants their signature somehow put into their artwork, right? Like, so
Somewhere at least.
you would always want to have that little touch, just to ensure that it still feels your own.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that does make a lot of, it feels more your project, like it's yours kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So I would also just want to request to see a few of your projects because you have done so much. I have seen what you have done, but I would want the world to also see like the guests that we have today. At least they notice or know what we have experienced. And if you could just walk us through a couple of them, it'll be awesome.
Sure. There is one Axis Bank project that we have done. So I'll just show that to you and then I'll move to the other one which we recently did.
Okay,
1 second. I'll just present my screen.
absolutely.
Hi, I am Aditya. Second. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we did for Axis Money Market Fund. It's a very complex fund. Honestly, nobody knows how do you invest in it. So we had to simplify it.
Okay.
ना ट्रैफिक ना टेंशन, सिर्फ सरप्लस कैश का स्मार्ट सॉल्यूशन। एक्सिस मनी मार्केट फंड, सरप्लस फंड्स के लिए स्मार्ट मूव।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market.
So this is a series of videos that we are doing where we have personified money. So
Mm-hmm.
we made money personified, and this money character keeps on moving between different funds, and something so complex gets becomes something so tangible and easy. Then everybody they actually this kind of a series has helped them make their entire make the money market fund become one of the most popular funds in their
Wow.
company. This is one another project that I'll show you. 1 second.
So it's really fascinating because you are
नमस्कार।
someone who is like having so much power to
Sorry, yes.
you're having so much power to story tell, and then you're also having the power to make things, communicate
Absolutely.
things across.
Now
And
you have to make something like this in 3D. Imagine that would have taken at least a month because you had to come up with 3D assets, you have to come up with lighting, rendering, everything incorporated. But
true.
this we did in 5 days. 1 day
Wow.
of scripting and 2 days of building the assets, and fourth day of editing, and fifth day of just doing nothing and making the product better and then putting it out there with the client. So production pipeline has gone down exponentially. There is absolutely no doubt that AI has disrupted the market. Now it's up to us to tell a better story. Otherwise, you can't use, you're not using AI correctly. This
True,
is
true.
another project that we have done for our gaming clients. Now, mind you, what you see right now is basis 3 images on WhatsApp, which the client sent us.
Oh,
Client sent us the costume of this Joker, and
okay.
he wanted a gun, and he
Okay.
wanted a bike. And these are in-game components that you can buy. All right. So
Okay.
client said that you do something to do with India, right? Like do something and get our characters in this and do something. I'm
Huh.
like, okay, fine. We have worked with the client for a very long time, so we understand what they
Exactly.
kind of are saying. So then we made something like this. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, I can.
Oh.
One skin, infinite power on the battleground. You fool. Let's put a smile on that cute little face.
So, and we made this in 7 days. Just three WhatsApp images. Everything what you hear right now, except the editing part of it, is AI.
Wow.
SFX to music to asset creation, everything is AI. Now, this is the power where now we can now imagine shooting this, Devjani, taking a
Yeah.
location, taking the costumes, the lighting, the action
Right.
director, the directors, the DOPs, so many cameras. It was supremely impossible. And now things have changed, right? Like that's what we are looking at. This is the shift.
So even the other character who was with the gun, he was also not real. It was all AI.
Everything is AI.
That's pretty
And the
interesting.
models are evolving exponentially. And this is our recent work. I'll show, I won't be able to show that to you because right now we are working with that client. But now what we are doing is even more realistic. There is absolutely no doubt that things have changed completely. I think by the end of this year, we are going to see no shoot, no shoot pipelines, just AI pipelines.
Wow. But I think it's also the prompt engineering that you're doing really well to ensure that you're getting the results the right way.
Yes, that is a given anyway, Chase. I'm
Yeah.
not taking that credit because uh, I'm a humble kind of a person here. But yes, the thought process, what to use now. We are using models where we are specifying specific cameras to use for that particular image to be generated, the lensing, the f-stop, everything we put in all those exact details to have a visual consistency. Now, if somebody's starting with just AI, might
Hmm.
not necessarily have this information. We
That's
have
right.
this information because we have been shooting for a very long time. That is what is making the difference. And clients generally are coming to us for that particular thing.
True. Yeah, it's like it's actually showing that you have worked really hard. You've figured it out in a lot of ways to ensure that you're actually having a proper control over what you would want as a result and what you would want as your like output.
Absolutely. And I push my team honestly because most of the time what happens, I'll tell you, I'm sorry, I might cut you, but I'm just
No,
saying
that's fine.
that this is something which I have to tell that we have our projects like Ancient Indian Billionaires. I have
Mm,
two IPs called as one is an AI with a side eye, where you're
mm,
looking at technology
mm.
with a side eye because many of the times technology is just peddled to you because some person thought that this is cool and that technology might not be useful, you know. So that is something which I speak about heavily, and for that, I urge my team also to again and again make something using a storyline in your mind, and this is something which I would love to show you guys.
Mhm.
1 second.
Sure.
This is the promo for AI with a side eye.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Weakness has always been humanity's only true strength. So this is something which is very important as a conversation to be had in the age of AI, that when we were cavemen,
Hmm.
we were drawing stories.
Right.
There was a saber-tooth tiger outside, but still we decided to venture out. Some of us lost on that, but some of us really triumphed, and those stories were etched on the walls so that the next generation knows that no, don't worry about it, go ahead. So when the
Right.
saber-tooth tiger of an AI is standing, we don't have to be worried. There will be some jobs that will be lost, but it is only going to push us forward. So such conversations is what I have my team also to have, or we always every week when we do brand work, we have this kind of work also on a regular basis because the next stage of storytellers need to have some conscience. Otherwise,
Mhm.
if everything becomes automated, every story will feel the same. It
Absolutely.
can't be like that, you know. So that is what I also, or wherever I speak about, or whenever I give sessions, I tell people that let's have conversations on better storytelling. All right, not tools only. You know, that's
Mhm.
not how we're supposed to approach things. So yeah, this is what we are up to these days.
That's great because I like although you have an amazing thought process and you're really looking at things of that sort, but I have come across a lot of individuals who pretty much are wanting everything to be done by AI. Like it's just like a magic tool where they're just like, can it also do this? Can it also do that? So it's great that you're asking for a lot more that can happen with AI. Of course, that's where it's going to go, but uh, how much control do you want to let go of, or how much control do you want to have of something is the question that I think everybody should look into as well. And considering the fact that we are on that topic, I would also want to ask you about what do you think about the fact about what is the commercially safe aspect of things when
Hmm.
using AI, and how ethical is it? Like, do you have those thoughts, and how do you address that?
So we work with a lot of Bollywood stars, and we right now have one of our film we have co-produced with a Hollywood based production. We'll have the screening of that in Australia. We also showed that movie in the Warner Brothers studios in LA last year, and
Mhm.
that film has been doing rounds across. Uh, what we have basically come across in all the paperwork that we have been doing is most of the people or most of the stars have started adding those clause of royalty when it comes to using their faces in terms of AI. And I feel that that kind of a thing which will be like a norm in the coming future, and that has to be there. But diffusion models per se, Devjani, are the ones which have they add noise to they add noise to a particular image and then they denoise it. It's a sort of a crushing the image and uncrushing the image. Coming up with a copyright for a particular face is quite not possible unless you are prompting it specifically that you want Shah Rukh Khan's face or you want Tom Cruise's face. But to even avoid that for our clients, like I said before, we use actual actors, we use their faces, and only then we move forward because you never know what diffusion models are training their data set on, or sometimes even 1920 kind of a difference, or some kind of a difference also leads to a copyright. We want to avoid that for our clients, so we use real human beings and their faces and then make our content.
Wow. Yeah, I completely get that point of yours. And what happens is, at least from Adobe point of view, we have always ensured that our AI tool, which is Firefly, is completely commercially safe for you to use. And that's why you can't create a Shah Rukh Khan or a Batman or anything that is having
Correct.
copyright there. But yes, the fact that, you would have all these individuals who are superstars, you would really want to keep yourself away from those, and having a royalty free, I think, is the way to go. I'm not even sure of like, I think Milan already had an AI model generated for their latest showcase of their the model, the fashion. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, they did that. But I think that also had a lot of eyes raised because the models were not happy with this idea. So
Right.
it's a blend. It can't stop. Of course, it's going to come. I mean, even if you want to just close your eyes, that's all that you can do. But it's a wave which will obviously affect all of us.
Correct.
But
It
it's
will formalize also. It will formalize very soon, but the industry has started bringing in the formal tools, like I said before, like agreements where the specific contracts and details have been mentioned. So it's starting to formalize.
That is the right way to go. I think it was just a boom of AI, and everybody was excited and everyone was using it. In fact, there are so many, like short videos and reels. You can't really make out which is real and which is not, because with every new news, right? Like you'll see a lot of videos which probably is AI. So I think the world is now in a state where you're questioning everything that you're seeing, if it is real or not. So it's a space where I think awareness and creators being more, creators like yourself who is being very ethical and very responsible is something that is also important, right? Like everyone
Absolutely.
maintains
I
that.
would I would love to add a point here because I've been taking sessions for the newspaper The Hindu,
Mm-hmm.
and I took some session in Chennai very recently where the session was about how to build narrative immunity in the age of deepfakes.
Mm-hmm.
Because deepfake can just who knows that if I'm not deepfake or not, because you can't understand that because the tools like watermarking and everything are very expensive for a regular audience to have,
True.
bigger studios can afford that. So how as we consumers can have that kind of a narrative immunity? Now it's great that Adobe is not it's very you mentioned that, right? It's very safe and
Very
it's
safe, yeah.
yeah, but if at all that is your company. But if at all a person or an independent wants to have that particular immunity from a deep fake, is where
Right.
you have to have a right narrative for yourself and uh, right showcase of what you want to show. These days, what is happening? Social media, in terms of personal branding, people are putting out everything.
Yes.
That is not personal brand. That is leaking out emotional emotions, and that is something which is going to help AI to train itself on everything to do with you, so you can be easily deepfaked. The idea is to be very surgical about what you want to showcase. You
Yeah.
have to have like an online narrative for yourself. So even if deepfakes do the deepfake, it actually helps you. Similar to how Louis Vuitton or Fendi's of the world, they have their deepfakes, right? But people get those because they want to feel that aspiration. So
True.
not leaking out your entire personal details right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially since AI is evolving,
Mm-hmm.
is the right way to go ahead in this day and age.
That's a very important tip that you're given. Even I'll keep that in mind, and I shall not be, posting an ice creams photo if I'm not feeling good.
That is fine. But sometimes, like those slight nuances, like I tell people to have their own totems. Like, for example, I wear these
Mhm,
shades. Now, these
mhm,
are these have specific red tint and these are specific from a specific brand. So having your small motifs and keeping on changing them and evolving them, which will
mhm.
have a sort of a cat and mouse game going on between the deepfakes and you. But that
Right,
is the future. You want to run away from deepfakes and have that strong narrative. So people, even if they see your deepfake, they'll be like, Devjani doesn't speak like that. Devjani, this is not Devjani. You know,
right,
it's fairly important for us to have an online identity these days because if you don't have an identity, deepfake is going to create an identity for you and use it.
right.
So might as well use it properly, have your proper narrative, and then put yourself out there. Is
I shall
imperative.
keep that. We shall all keep that in mind. So, with that, I have like just a few more questions left, but just to ask you that with this, of course, you have been talking about it as how you have adapted and nurtured things around. But in general, when you talking about your basic skills,
Hmm.
is it getting more important or it's getting less important? How would you look at it from a creator point of view?
Basic skills, meaning.
Basic skills meaning your editing skills, like you really love that, so you would want to continue with the editing. That is your passion in you that is
Correct.
making you do that. But what is your thought process in general when like for an artist painting, or for a writer writing, these basic skills that they have, or the most defining
Uh,
skills that they have, are you looking at them as evolving or getting less important in this age of time?
I think the things need to not evolve but go back. Like even if I have access to the repository of information using these LLMs, I can type anything, get anything, type in Google, get any information, but I'd still read books.
Right.
I'll still have conversations with people. I'll still want to have that tangible human interaction, which will definitely help the AI train itself better because that's what is happening, right? It's a
Mhm.
collective mean of all the artwork that is there.
True.
So I would want people to then, that's the reason why the cave painting as a metaphor always came into play, because people were holed up inside the cave. They were exchanging stories. They were strategizing what to do next and what not to do. So what do we what is the next thing? Then somebody was painting on the wall. So all of these tangible things have to keep on going. There is no
Right.
doubt.
Hmm.
You can't just be digital. That's not going to help us any which ways, because there will always be a better AI to replicate you online. But that AI will not be able to replicate the mistakes that you have. It might, but not in the way where you can calculate that mistake. So that is something which I urge people to basically do. You can't start directly with AI. If you're starting directly with AI, then go back and do something non-AI also as an artist.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean, the foundation needs to be there, right? Like
Yeah,
you can't
100%.
really go ahead and create an ad without understanding what what's the purpose of that ad, or how, you're looking into a design. If you don't understand the one third
Rule
nuance,
of third, yeah.
yeah, so you will not really be able to create something which is really
No.
impactful. Another question, I've added one extra, I'm so sorry, but your conversation led me to ask you this out of curiosity. Now the world is very different, the generation is very different.
Right.
And as you mentioned about, being online, and human interaction is important as well. I see that, the newer generations are more not as social in real life as much as they are online. So is it a challenge to communicate to this generation of individuals? Like, is your, do you have to uh, think about that point of view and change your narrative completely? Because it's possible that they don't understand a lot of things. They just have a second-hand feel about things because they're only watching reels, and they're coming up with, experiences which they have not experienced in general. So is that impacting your storytelling also?
Yeah, I mean, how to deal with the newer generation is something which I'm learning on a regular basis, because the generation comes from uh, a lot of knowledge fit into a very smaller brain, like a young brain,
Right.
and doesn't have the right output. All right.
Hmm.
So what
Hmm.
I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing with the newer generation is not the problem of upskilling, the problem of downskilling and
Hmm.
narrowing that skill to exactly using the information they have. That is something which I'm actually learning from this generation, because we have so many people in our company right now at the age group of 20 to 25, very young, uh, I don't want to say, but Gen Zs,
Yeah.
you know, and there is a very clear distinction of what they like, what they do not like.
Hmm.
But at the same point of time, because of the fast media, there is a sudden loss of interest which happens suddenly. So, what we have to do is we have to give them a proper framework and show them exactly what's the end outcome of what they're doing, because this generation questions a lot, which is what I love about this generation. In our
Hmm.
time, when we used to assist directors, if the director says go and stand there, we are not questioning why.
Yeah.
We are saying, okay, we do that.
True.
This generation questions the entire status quo, and this is precisely what is expected out of a younger generation.
Yeah.
It's
True.
our job as, uh, I would not want to
It
reveal my age, but as millennials or the experienced professionals, to sort of direct that entire wave of people who are really intelligent, or generation who's very intelligent. That is something which I'm actually I myself am learning of this generation. Like, I used to be like, if I had access to so much at that time, I would have probably been a very different person, you know?
true. Yeah. I completely agree. Another thing that I wanted to ask you was, do you think there are any new roles emerging because of this new change of landscape here? And if there is, do you have like a name in mind that you could think of saying, this is a AI researcher or something of those lines? What is your thoughts on that?
World builder.
Okay, that's
AI
interesting.
world builder. Like, of course, in the VFX pipeline, we have those people. But when I say builder is something which I feel the filmmakers need to be now called world builders, because they will not just make films. Like ancient Indian billionaires gave me access to understanding that I'm not sticking into the rectangle at all.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, I'm not making a film. That's something, a format which I'm associated with. But
Right.
my next evolution is building that entire world where me and you can enjoy that story by
Mm-hmm.
stepping inside that world, and it's quite possible. There is something which I experienced quite a lot of when I went to Japan. There is something called as Team Labs. Now,
Okay.
Team Labs is experiential art form. You get inside and you experience. Let's say, for example, you walk into a huge auditorium of sorts filled with water till knee level, and on the top there are projections which happen, and down we see those fishes, and you
Mm.
move through those projections and the fishes move outside, and there is some breezy music going on. You felt like you were on some another world. And the
Right.
Team Labs planets is something which actually has this particular experience. So then I'm involved into that story, right? So now
Right.
world builders is what we are going to see, if at all the next evolution will happen, at least in the
Mm-hmm.
filmmaking part of it. The editor's job will change because
Mm-hmm.
now the editor will become sort of a cameraman also. Like, for example, an editor sitting on a workflow of now he's just sitting in a timeline with multiple clips attached and he just had to make an edit. But the editor will then step into the shoes of a DOP where he will see what was the vision, what is the story. Maybe in this edit, I require this particular shot. So he'll go to an AI model, he'll build that shot and add it there. So technically, he becomes the DOP also and the editor also. So that is something which is going to change exponentially. And the VFX pipeline will, like we do in our company, we have put in the AI rendering towards the traditional Blender or Unreal engines of the world. And the rendering has gone down exponentially. So I see a lot of roles changing. I don't see any roles going away.
Yeah.
I see roles changing if they are given the right direction. And
True.
that is our job, right? You can't be like saying, "Hey, this is your resignation, go out." We'll at least think first, okay, fine, this person's job is not relevant. Fine, let's put him there. So that is me and my co-founder always keep on discussing this, that should we save cost here? Then I'm like, no, let's upskill this and get that kind of a client where this particular role can be used. So that way we are thinking, and companies should think like that. We can't have unemployed people, right? Just because AI is here.
Absolutely. That's like more power to you, right? Like you have the
Yeah,
human as
absolutely.
well as the AI combined together for you. That's brilliant. One last question that I have would be that what is the one myth about AI in the creative field that you think you can bust today?
There are quite a lot. There are quite a lot. But the myth, which is very common, that this looks very AI. When I come from a background where I've seen and enjoyed video games, and
Mm-hmm.
video games have cheap 3D graphics,
Yeah.
no micro expressions.
Yeah.
Sometimes that character just moves from here to there.
Right.
All right. Then I've seen anime where there is 13.5 frames, not even 25 frames. All right.
Yeah.
I see anime which moves into not even expressions at all. But then the story in the games and animes is so powerful, nobody questions if it's anime or if that looks very 3D or not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So AI is in a phase where people are questioning the fact that, or people are just commenting too much on, This looks very AI." I'm like, of course it is AI. It will look AI. The
Right.
idea is people are focusing on the AI because there are no better stories being told in AI. That is the
Right.
problem. That's why people are focusing too much on the tools. So it is up to filmmakers like myself and my colleagues to tell better stories so that you don't hide behind the fact that, let's make it more realistic so people will enjoy it more. People will enjoy a good story, not a good, not a tool. They'll enjoy a good story. So that is something which I feel whoever is saying too much that looks very AI is not telling a better story.
Absolutely. I mean, I think movies have, since the evolution of time, right? Like movies were silent movies, you had black and white, and then you had animated ones. There are so many things that have happened through
Correct.
and through. And end of the day, it was the power of the story which kept us glued. And,
Yeah.
we wanted to know what happens towards the end. We were touched by the emotions. And I think it's all about the power that, directors like yourself put through and make us experience. So it's always going to be that. And I think it's just a trending word right now, and eventually it'll
Correct.
go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Just because it's made easy these days, but we know how much efforts we are putting behind the prompt, you know. But
exactly.
there are
Is
those
it
tools.
really easy?
Making,
I'm not
yeah,
really
make
sure.
it's not making a good looking visual is not a problem these days.
Yeah, yeah.
How to
I
weave that into a story is what the challenge is.
And I think it's also the fact that, because everyone is talking about AI, everyone is expecting you to do an AI,
Correct.
they're also restricting your time a lot more. Like you are expected to deliver really faster as
And
compared to
better.
and better, and you don't even have the scope of exploring as much as you would want to. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure there are days where you would just want to sit back and just explore, just look into variations, look into options, look into what is already there in the market, look into inspirations. I'm not sure whether people are having that kind of time anymore because
No, I mean, the other day I read a tweet which said that to be up with AI, you have to be unemployed.
that is that is true in a way, because yeah,
Yeah.
there's constant evolution that's happening there.
Yeah, but honestly, every I teach every week to people. Frankly, I haven't taken a break since AI has come in. Like all 7 days, I'm just working. This Sunday also I have a session. So in every session, I have to like they can't play the previous recording of the session because every week the tools have changed completely.
Wow.
So that way, I have to focus on the story honestly. Then I becomes a tools guy. I don't want to be the tools guy. There's many tools people across the globe right now, and I don't know, frankly. I can't use the tool as better as they can. I can weave a nice story. That's what my specialization is.
And that is great. I mean, that's at the end of the day, even today's session was all about that, like, ensuring that you are maintaining what your personality is, and ensuring that even in the world of AI or whatever evolution is happening, you be you and, express yourself the right way. These are just tools. This will just help you, make it better. But end of the day, you can't lose yourself out there, and you can just
Oh,
be very strong and, be
absolutely.
yourself. So thank you, Shantanu. This was wonderful. Is there any last statements that you'd want to make? It was a wonderful session, and I enjoyed having a conversation with you. It felt really good. Anything at all that you'd want to tell us?
So I have this one framework which people can just utilize to make their own personal brands because I feel that's a very important thing to do. The first mantra I gave is very clear that you have to automate the noise, humanize the content, and free the storyteller in you. That's something which you have to follow. But how do you have your own narrative? So there is some framework which I follow and give most of my students. It's called narrative plus tech, which
Hmm.
leads to narrative, tech,
Mhm.
impact, which leads to a personal brand. How does that mean? My personal narrative is that I want to rebrand India and change its global perception from what Slumdog Millionaire showed. I don't like what Slumdog Millionaire showed. All right, so my India is very different. So ancient Indian billionaire is that. What is the tech I use? I use the tech which is AI at this stage.
Mhm.
And what is the impact I want? I want a global perception of India to change, which
Right.
leads to my personal brand. All right.
Right.
So if you
Mhm.
want to build your personal brand, so you have to first of all have your own narrative,
Mhm.
decide the tool set you want to use, and
Mhm.
also understand what impact you want, which means what target you want, and that will lead to your personal brand. And that is what if you follow, then the idea of leaking out emotions doesn't come in because if you sit yourself in this framework, you have a
Right.
very strong personal brand. So that is
Right.
something which I feel all of us should do because the world needs better stories, honestly. If you have access to AI, you have access to all the tools. So now show
Right.
us your narrative, where you came from. AI cannot replicate your emotions or your experiences. It can just list out your emotions and experiences, but you know what it felt. So that small part of instinct of something which AI still can't quantify, something which you can't quantify, you have to focus on that particular aspects, and that will be an imperative in the coming future. So narrative, tech plus impact will lead to a personal brand is what I would like the audience to take from me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Shantanu. It was lovely having a conversation with you. And yes, it is definitely going to keep a good impact on us as well. And we would all want to see the India that you envision. It's a beautiful India that you want us to all see, and we will also contribute in our own ways to do the same. Thank you
Absolutely.
again. Thanks for coming here and spending your time with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devjani. Thank you to the team Adobe. Thank you for having me. Bye. See
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.